Hey guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today, our first video on CRL Asia, and we're going to be covering a pro who's absolutely off to a phenomenal start to the surprise of nobody, and it is Pedro, ex-Pedro 15. Pedro is currently undefeated. He has won every single 1v1 match so far, and he's just been absolutely dominant doing so, going against the other team's best players in a lot of these matches. Today's video is sponsored by Honkai Impact 3rd. It's a really cool game. As you guys can see, it kind of has anime-based graphics and gameplay, full 3D rendering, just beautiful art and graphics inside this game. Now, in terms of the genre, it's really a bunch all kind of rolled up into one. It's really cool to play. It can get involved, but again, you pick it up and it's rather intuitive, and the controls are really good. So it's kind of like hack and slash 3D fighter, but it also has a lot of role-playing elements as well. So just a lot there to kind of digest and enjoy. Now, I want to tell you guys about a special in-game event that they're having right now until September 25th. All you have to do is log in, and you'll be given one expansion card per day. So it lasts 5 days, so you can get 5 expansion cards absolutely free. That's about $20 US value. So go ahead and download the game using my link below, and thanks again for sponsoring this video. It's Honkai Impact 3rd. So I wanted to bring you some highlights, 4 of my favorite matches so far. 2 sets here against, 2 matches against Benzer Ridel, who's another incredibly good player, and then 2 matches against RAD. And you guys are going to see some amazing decks. It's going to illustrate his versatility as a player as well. I'll go ahead and include his Twitter information, his Instagram information, Pedro, because he's a guy that you're going to want to be acquainted with. Now check this out, guys. PEKKA Bridge, he pressured opposite lane very hard, almost immediately after Benzer dropped this Lava Hound, and what can Benzer do right now? He doesn't have guards in hand, he doesn't have the Goblin Cage in hand, so he was just ready to pounce there, connecting with the Ram Rider. Now Benzer's applying some opposite lane pressure, but check it out, the King Tower's all the way down to 1394. Wait till you see all these decks, a couple really cool Fisherman decks as well, and all the decks that Pedro plays in this video will be linked in the description below. Remember, all my videos, you can find the deck links in the description below. So here we go, guys. Going to be a Dark Prince Baby Dragon on the counter push here in the left, taking care again of that Goblin Cage. Now identifying the fact that Benzer only has 3 ground options in his deck. He has Miner, he has the guards, and he has the cage. So we're going to try to get those out of his hand, and watch this next push here, guys. Watch this PEKKA. This PEKKA slowly but surely, methodically making her way to that King Tower. He knows the guards are in hand. So just waiting. He has the E-Wiz down next. There goes the guards. Log down for the guards. PEKKA's going to go ahead and finish them off. Now he only has Miner, but the PEKKA actually gets to that King Tower. Poison comes down, and I can't believe it. Before we even got to double issue time, or right around that same time, there it is, a 3 crown against Benzer, and that's exactly, if you're playing any sort of a PEKKA deck, any sort of a bridge spam deck, that's exactly how you want to go ahead and handle that matchup. Let's go ahead and go into the second match. This one's a lot more tight. It goes into sudden death overtime against Benzer. This one is a really good one, so let's take a look. All right, guys, so here we go into the next match here, and again, really just note here that Fisherman, not in this deck, I don't believe, but in the last 2 matches I'm going to show you guys, a lot of pros out there saying that Fisherman, even despite the very small 5% HP nerf, is one of the strongest, if not the strongest card in the game right now. So expect to see a ton of Fisherman gameplay in CRL West when that kicks off in just next week. It's already around the corner. I'm super excited to see it. Anyway, in this match, Pedro starts off with a Baby Dragon and a Log, and that's another thing that I love about Pedro, as we'll see throughout the variety of the rest of the decks I'll be sharing today, is just he's one of those players, and there's not that many players out there. He's one of those players who, sure, he loves this deck, obviously, that he's playing right now, but he's incredibly versatile as a player. He can play fast cycle decks, he can play heavy beatdown decks, and he can play controlled decks, bridge spam decks. He really doesn't have a weakness when it comes to an archetype, and that's the type of pro that I love watching, I love rooting for, you know? Someone who can play anything and who is feared in the arena no matter what, you know, the card ban is. By the way, no card bans in these matchups in CRL Asia. So here we go. It's going to be a Baby Dragon cycled behind the King Tower here for Pedro. And Benzer obviously playing not the same deck, but a very, very similar one. Another kind of PEKKA Bridge spam versus PEKKA Bridge spam. Earthquake, though, in Pedro's deck, a lot of players, a lot of pro players, preferring Earthquake to cards like Poison and just running double or even sometimes triple spells. Sometimes Earthquake and Log, sometimes Earthquake Log Poison, sometimes Earthquake Log and Snowball. So it really depends. It shows the versatility of having that 3 elixir spell inside your deck. So here we go. And notice how reactive Pedro's being in this matchup, guys. You're seeing Benzer oftentimes make the first play, and we're just responding to what the opponent does. And that's something that I kind of take away from these matchups when watching a really good player like this, like Pedro, like both of these players, honestly. I would say these two guys are definitely in the top 5 in CRL Asia, and maybe even the top 5 competitively at tournament level standard in the world. And then maybe I would add, I think that personally, one of my favorite players to watch is KK. In CRL Asia, so I would add him to my list of top Asian players, but there's a lot of great players, so I don't think I could even start to name them all. But anyway, a big push coming in the right lane here for Benzer. We have Baby Dragon in hand. We're going to take that Battle Ram charge. No, we're not going to take that Battle Ram charge. I stand corrected. Wow, that Baby Dragon, the Snowball, actually doing work there. We do take a lot of damage to the right tower, though, but look at this pressure going opposite lane. He waited for Benzer to kind of overcommit in one lane, and that's what Bridge Spam is all about, right? We wait for that P.E.K.K.A to come down. Man, we know he only has 3 elixir. What can he do here? So we get a ton of damage off that right tower. Meanwhile, Benzer was not able to support that P.E.K.K.A in the opposite lane. So here we go into overtime here. Baby Dragon cleaning up these barbarians, but not before they get a hit in on that right tower. So a slight damage advantage for Pedro here, about 15-20 seconds into sudden death overtime. So here comes a Bandit and an Ewiz in the right lane. P.E.K.K.A reloaded in the back by Benzer. We go with a P.E.K.K.A of our own. So let's see how he handles this kind of situation here in the right lane. Dark Prince, Ewiz, Poison comes down for Benzer. Earthquake comes down. Remember, Earthquake also slows the troop for us. That didn't really work out too well, though. I think I would have rather had Poison in that situation. But we do have Log and Baby D that's going to clean up very, very nicely here. And Ewiz responding by Benzer at the bridge, kind of chip away at that Baby Dragon, but it doesn't matter. We have Dark Prince in hand. It's going to intercept that P.E.K.K.A, and now we have a nice little counter push and enough elixir to use a Ram Rider if we want to, but we know he has P.E.K.K.A in hand. So let's see. Instead of going with a Ram Rider, would be a dumb move there, Ash. We do the right thing here. We wait. He plays a P.E.K.K.A. We respond with a P.E.K.K.A way in the back of our own. So here he goes. It looks like Benzer's going to set up for a push in the opposite lane here with a Dark Prince. We respond with a Baby Dragon. Here comes the Battle Ram. P.E.K.K.A in the right. Ewiz planted firmly in the middle to help out against the P.E.K.K.A, and then he'll turn and help out against that Dark Prince and that Barbarian. So here comes our Dark Prince down. Really nice defense again here, mitigating the damage on the left tower. Now we have a nice counter push in the left lane, but the Bandit's going to do some work there. We play a defensive Ram Rider. He's still got to respond to that is Benzer. He does so with the P.E.K.K.A, and he has to use his Zap. So 9 elixir just to prevent that Ram Rider from making contact to that right tower. And we can, we can pretty much just cycle Earthquakes and Snowballs and Logs at this point. And I was right, by the way, that he has Snowball in this deck. So very interesting version of P.E.K.K.A Bridge Spam. When I'm playing Ram Rider, I always like to have Snowball. But the fact that he has Snowball, Log, and Earthquake, very interesting. I kind of like it. I'm going to test this out. I tested this deck out, the one that Pedro is playing myself. It seems like it might be a really interesting deck that actually works. So we have a P.E.K.K.A down immediately once we see those minions and Dark Prince down again, waiting for Benzer to commit first, and then we're responding. So here we go, 453 remaining on the tower. Now we're going in, knowing he doesn't have enough elixir for P.E.K.K.A, and that's probably going to be GG. Earthquake comes down, slows that Bandit, slows the Dark Prince, and a well played comes down from Benzer. Log's going to finish it off. GG's. Very well played there, comparing both of those pros' play style, their aggression, their discipline, and I think that Pedro definitely came out on top in that matchup. Now let's go take a look at the Fisherman decks. So here we go, guys, against Pedro against Rad. This time Pedro's at the top of your screen, Rad, of course, from Ponos on the bottom of your screen. And I didn't even mention that Pedro's representing Kick's team, and Kick's, in my opinion, has one of the best teams. I love rooting for these guys. It's my favorite team, except for Bren Esports, of course, in CRL Asia. So Bren and Kick's, and they also have IMJP. You guys might remember him from CRL West last year. IMJP was one of my favorite players. He's also on Kick's, so a lot of guys who I really like there, of course, Pedro and JP being two of my favorites personally. Anyway, here we go with the Fisherman. Check it out. Fisherman, Baby Dragon, Dark Prince are his first 3 cards. You already know it's going to be an interesting matchup, an interesting deck. We go in with, or we have to defend, excuse me, against this Graveyard. We actually pull that Ice Wiz into the Fisherman. Fisherman cleaning up very nicely, and we have the Poison in hand. So check out these other 2 cards here. We have Poison, whoop-de-doop, right? And then we have the Executioner. So he's trying out the new Executioner. I like to see these decks with the Executioner, who is recently buffed again, the second emergency balance change to the Xe, and they also having the Fisherman in the deck, who is nerfed, but again, one of the best cards right now inside the game. So Rad is playing a traditional Splash Yard deck. He responds to the Baby Dragon, well, Pedro's Baby Dragon here, and there it is, the Graveyard. It confused me for a second here. I was like, okay, there's his Graveyard. That's right, it's the Fisherman Executioner Graveyard deck being played by Pedro. So kind of a new version of Splash Yard versus an old version of Splash Yard. I guess you can call it Splash Yard because it does still have the Dark Prince and the Baby Dragon. You can see that Pedro is a big fan of the Dark Prince. But look at all the splash in this deck with the Executioner, we have even Poison. Even our spells are very well suited to prevent any splash damage at all from the opponent. I like this deck because it really puts the control into Graveyard. A lot of strong, robust defensive options in the deck here for Pedro. By the way, guys, quick side note, apologize for no audio for this gameplay. Really a bummer that they haven't provided the content creators yet with the raw footage of CRL Asia, so I had to kind of just take it from the YouTube channel, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll get that sooner rather than later, and I do plan on covering a lot more of CRL Asia and CRL China as we move forward here on the channel, so make sure you stay tuned for that stuff. So here comes Executioner doing work there, putting in a lot of damage. One more hit would have probably taken out that entire push, except for the Knight. But we do have, again, plenty of tools at our disposal here. We use the Executioner. Poison comes down offensively there for Rad. Did we use a Poison as well? We may have. I don't think we did. Either way, Fisherman actually, it doesn't do great against the Graveyard, but, you know, he was a body there, taking some damage from those skeletons and, you know, fish slapping them or whatever. So Baby Dragon comes down, cycles in the back here against this Tombstone. Another Baby Dragon in response from Rad. And here comes a Knight at the bridge. We have the Dark Prince at the ready. So Executioner, we have the Fisherman to pull that Knight away, and he's going to keep just basically pulling everything that they throw at us away. He's going to start out with skeletons here. Executioner doing a good job on defense, but check it out. Look at the damage advantage here, guys, for Rad. I remember when I was watching this live, I was thinking to myself, dude, Pedro's going to lose his first match of CRL, right? I mean, look at this. 806, 1931, already in 30 seconds almost, 25 seconds into sudden death overtime. Here comes the Poison down for Pedro, getting rid of that Tombstone. The Tombstone proving to be kind of a difficult thorn in the side of Pedro on defense here against that Graveyard. So he's forced to use his Poison there against it. Now he's kind of clogging up the lane. He has the Fisherman, he has the Baby Dragon. He's going to go ahead and take care of the opponent's Knight. And now another Knight down. We have the Ice Wiz down and a Baby Dragon down on our Graveyard. So really, we play that Graveyard there, but we know we're going to have to respond to these defensive troops, the Baby Dragon and the Ice Wizard, and a quick Graveyard play here by Rad. Already getting some nice RNG, getting some nice skeleton hits on that tower. It goes all the way down to 631, make it 604, make it 577, and ticking away is the Poison. 523 remaining on that right tower. Oof, a minute and 10 minute and 15 seconds here into sudden death overtime. Things are not looking good here. We're not getting any damage on our Graveyard pushes. He's getting a ton of damage on his Graveyard pushes. We do now, though, have an alive Executioner, Dark Prince, and Fisherman. So here it comes. Graveyard is down. We have 3 Elixir. Let's see what we do here. We need that Poison. Okay, we're not even going to need the Poison, it looks like, right? NATO used there by Rad, defensive NATO. We strike, but not enough damage, right? 1246 still remaining. And again here, guys, like 75 seconds remaining in this contest. Doesn't seem like there's enough time for Pedro to actually strike and get enough damage onto the Tower of Rad here. We have the defensive Ice Wizard. Rad playing this very, very well up until now. But look at this. Look at the Elixir of Rad right now, guys. Dark Prince, Graveyard, Tombstone played. Ill-advised tombstone played in the lane there. Bar barrels down, poisons down, and Rad knows that he just totally choked there. Pedro remaining cool, calm, and collected in that matchup, in that situation. A beautiful come from behind victory. And here we go, jumping into the last deck, the last match that I have selected for you guys to check out. Again, versus Rad here, and another really good match in store for you guys. Hopefully, I've made you guys a believer in how good Pedro is. XPedro15, remember the name. Here we go with a Mega Mini to start things out in the back right corner for Pedro, and a Royal Ghost here for Rad. New Royal Ghost, really improved, really noticeably improved. And that's right, it's a Sparky Fisherman deck. I figured we'd end this with a treat. This is my favorite deck that I've seen Pedro play so far. So Sparky, PEKKA, in the Graveyard he's played in today's video. I want to get Pedro on in a non-CRL video. I've never had him on the channel, I don't think, at least. I have had so many guests now, and I'm old and I forget these things. But either way, check out the damage that we take early on here. And interestingly enough, that Rad not afraid to play the Royal Hog's Three Musketeer deck, and he definitely strikes first up until that Sparky connected on that right tower. So 295 remaining on the right tower could be worse. Now we know exactly what we're going against, though. If we're Pedro, you could say the same thing for Rad there. So look at the deck, guys. Excuse me. Take another hit there from the shotgun of that Hunter. 1143 remaining on our right tower. Things again not looking so hot here for Pedro. But look at this deck. It's Sparky, Goblin Giant. And then we have the Fisherman in there. Fisherman combined with Sparky, I don't need to tell you guys, is one of the strongest combinations with Fisherman right now inside the game. And speaking of Fisherman, there he is in the Three Musketeer deck. If you're looking to play a fun Three Musketeer deck, try this one being played by Rad as well, guys. Again, the Fisherman synergizing really nicely with the Hunter as well. So we see the Fisherman Hunter combo on the bottom. We see the Fisherman Sparky combo at the top of the screen. Speaking of Sparky, here she comes. Interestingly enough, we decide to go right lane here, putting some King Tower pressure on Rad into the lane of the one single Musketeer. Now, Rad put some pressure on our King Tower as well, but look at that Fisherman doing work. He's simultaneously, one by one, not simultaneously, one at a time, pulling those Royal Hogs away from the tower. Then we're able to rely just on the Dark Prince there to finish off the two Musketeers on that left side. Now we reload with another Sparky on the left lane, gonna go into the Three Musketeers, but we get a very lucrative Sparky hit onto the King Tower, taken down to 13 something or other, and then the Fisherman connects, taking it down to 1169. So the last card in our deck, we saw it, guys. It's Lightning, and that's not going to be a good situation for Rad. Lightning comes down, and Rad, you can see it on his face, guys. He knows, wow, that Lightning was not too fun. One of the best Sparky decks in the game right now is the one that Pedro is playing here. Really nice scouting. I'm not sure if he knew he was going to play Three Musketeers, but it was a great deck, with or without the Three Musketeer matchup. But either way, guys, again, I made you believers in Pedro. Such a good player, such a fun player to watch. If you guys want to watch CRL Asia, make sure you check it out. I'll include the YouTube link in the description below, again, along with Pedro's Instagram and his Twitter information. So guys, thank you so much for watching. A huge shout out to CRL Royale and to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out their information in the description below. Thanks, and as always, take care, guys.